Welcome to episode 4 of the AltBrau podcast. On this episode, we speak with Ian Clark from Pirates Press, Sicker Than Others, and several other projects he's got going, as you'll hear on this episode. We talk about Ian's sobriety, now coming up on 16 years, and we discuss his involvement in the punk rock scene and whether or not there's an inherent element of self-harm and abuse in the punk scene. And this is one of the episodes that I've been meaning to do as a way to change the direction of the podcast just a little bit. My plan is to always have this rooted in a place of beer and craft beer, but the reality is that there's already so many great podcasts out there for how to brew home brew, craft beer, make your own beer. There's great podcasts for reviewing, commercial releases. There's a lot of great beer podcasts out there. I'm not sure even what I'm trying to do with this AltBrau thing, and it changes all the time. I've been doing it now for 3 years, and in those 3 years, I've learned a lot about the business. And I'd say the one big thing I've learned is that, unfortunately, a lot of it is a giant circle jerk, and it's just a bunch of people preaching to the choir, and they're not really reaching out, trying to make connections with people in different fields, at their level, rather than just speaking to other craft brewers and beer geeks. I'd really rather speak with people from outside the industry over some beers. Of course, I'm going to have episodes where I'm interviewing people like Win Weisenhunt. We're working on an episode. He's the brewer over at Bartlett Hall. We did a collaboration together that if you go to the website, you'll see it didn't really come out as planned, but that's for a future episode. We'll talk about that. I'm always going to interview people in the beer industry if possible. There's some great personalities, but I'd really like to be able to expand AltBrau into whatever it's naturally going to become, whatever happens and whoever we work with in the future. I want this to be a creative outlet for me and a medium for me to have cool conversations with great people over some beers. So a lot of people are asking me, what is AltBrau? What is it going to become? And I really don't know. I'm flying by the seat of my pants. I'm figuring it out myself. We've got a really big beer collaboration coming up. I'm going to be driving up to Oregon. We're going to be documenting that. More details to be announced. But in the meantime, I hope you'll hang out with me and follow me along on this journey of whatever this is. Thanks for listening. Again, this is episode 4, and our guest today is Ian Clark. Enjoy. Yeah, so, honestly, I brought you in because I just had such a fun time at that barbecue at your spot.
That was great.
Yeah, and so it just showed me, you're a person who has been sober, how long now?
15 years.
Yeah, so 15 years.
Yeah. If I am graced with another few days, I'll have 16 here in a minute.
Congratulations, man. Yeah. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, but it just shows me, somebody who's in the punk rock scene and still likes to hang out and party with everybody, and
Absolutely.
And it's cool to me that that you can live in the community, the punk rock community, mm-hmm. sober.
Yeah.
Which isn't always an easy task, I imagine.
No.
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny because when I first put it down, when I first got sober, I kind of left that community. There's no kind of about it. I straight up left. There was
right.
a handful of years figuring out how to live without drinking or taking drugs that I just had to abandon my old... I've been doing this punk rock thing my whole life.
Right.
And when I got sober, it was explained to me that I got to change everything.
Right.
So I did. you know, and fuck, I got a membership at a golf course. Like, I went
Like, let's go the polar opposite of how I'm living.
Exactly, you know, like
Let's get a new crowd of people around me.
I broke up the band I was playing in. You know, I put my bass down. I stopped doing that because I put my bass on and I want to drink. Like
It's just associated
just
in your mind.
Yeah, that's just all we did. Played music and drank.
Right.
You know, that's all I knew. All my friends, everything. That was our whole world. You know, and so when I, you know, hit my bottom, I put it down. I walked away from it all, you know, for a while until I figured out how to navigate, you know, going to a show, going to a club, going to parties without, you know, drinking.
How long did that take?
You know, it actually really didn't take all that long because you'd be surprised at how many sober, straight edge punk rockers there are.
Yeah.
You know, there's a shitload of them. You know, and most of the popular bands generally have at least one or two sober dudes in their band, you know?
Yeah.
And not that popularity, you know, requires sobriety, but, you know, I guess what I'm saying is you'd be surprised at how many people you think are drinking aren't drinking.
Right.
You know? And, like, I'd go to shows, and I'd see people that I knew were sober drinking. Right? I didn't know they were drinking non-alcoholic beers. I thought they were drinking beers.
It's labeled to look like, unless you look real careful.
Right.
And it just sometimes it just is NA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, or they're drinking a glass with clear liquid with a chunk of lime in it, and I'm thinking it's a cocktail.
Yeah. It's just soda water.
It's soda water, you know? Yeah. And so I'm like, damn, they've been around me this whole time, but I was so polluted that I never really saw that there were sober people in the bar. I figured everybody in the bar was hammered like me.
Yeah.
No, not the case. So that was kind of refreshing.
Eye-opening a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, did you find that there was, like, a certain group of friends that you, like, were there people you already knew for a long time that you didn't know were sober? That, like, or did you make new friends, like, once you figured it out?
A little of both.
A little bit of both. Like, maybe people you knew through the extended family of punk rock.
A little of both. Like, there were some guys I was like, oh, I toured with this one band, you know, and had no clue. Even after the tour, had no clue. That's how much I drank, you know. Yeah. I just whatever, didn't even pay attention to my world around me.
You're living in a van with them.
Yeah, right. And after I got sober, I you know had heard that they were as well and had reached out. And he's like, yeah, we've been sober for years, dude. I just had no clue, you know. I'm self-centered.
So you had your bottle in the ice chest, and you didn't care what the other bottles were.
Just let me get to where I need to go, and just let's be good.
There you go.
Yeah, no, it's I thought when I stopped, when I put it down, I thought like that's it. Life is over. You know, like what am I gonna do?
Like your whole identity was tied up in it. Yeah.
Yeah, everything I did revolved around drinking and getting high. You know, like everything. What the fuck am I gonna do? You know, and I was pleasantly surprised that there was lots to do. You know, but I did have to take another path for a little bit. You know, and before I really got back into, you know, music and being involved again, I turned my record label off for like, I don't know, 7 years, 8 years.
Well, you've had several businesses, and they've been a lot tied into punk rock in some context or another. Yeah. Screen printing, merch, you know, just general merch printing and making, merchandising.
Yeah. And the label. I mean, I don't make any money off the label, but, you know, whatever.
Very few labels are. So.
Yeah. But yeah, I've always worked, well, not always, since about 97, I want to say, 98, I've worked in either at a record label or my own print shop or, you know, a distro company. It's been in music since then.
After you went sober, now you had mentioned that, you know,
it wasn't just alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, did you find yourself trying to find fulfillment in other things? I mean, there are people in my life that I've seen that it was an addictive personality, addictive behavior, and I saw them pick up gambling. I saw them pick up women. I saw them pick up, just on a...
I like to say that my favorite is more.
Right.
Like...
Of everything.
More glue.
Right.
It wasn't just booze and drugs, but it was all booze and all drugs. I was not discriminative. Like, it was whatever is going to change me. Gambling's awesome. I love Las Vegas and the craps table. I'll go days without any drugs, just throwing dice. For a weird period of time, it was baseball cards.
Seems harmless enough, but I imagine,
Yeah, until you're like spending $300 and $400 on a box of cards.
Yeah.
You get that same fix, that same adrenaline, that same rush when you pull out a rare baseball card. So yeah, anything that take me away. Fortunately, I got married early on in sobriety, so I never really fixed on the women.
Right.
I didn't have to go down that road, but food.
Yeah, we both got
I like some food.
I was actually specifically going to ask if you filled that gap with tacos, because I know you love your tacos, man.
Absolutely. I and here was my how I rationalized it was, at least I'm not drinking.
Right.
It's okay that I'm eating a super burrito at midnight. At least I'm not in the bar drinking booze.
Yeah.
And so filled the hole with food.
Is this something you struggle with all the time, and just like making sure you're not falling into any kind of addictive habits? I mean, it's an ongoing...
The food thing's ongoing. Yeah, it's a struggle for me, which is funny because I'm putting this out. Like,
yeah.
Like, here you go. No shame. Like, I have food issues.
Well, I think... everyone's got their thing. Like, I definitely, find comfort in food. Anyway, you can hang out with me for a day and you'll see what I'm into, which is drinking beer and eating food.
You were at my barbecue. Like, how was the spread?
Yeah, exactly.
That was ridiculous.
Yeah, and that was my concern going in, was how's the spread?
Yeah, of course. Like, what's going to be there? We plan.
Yeah.
So currently, so I get sober. I stop. The food issue. I put on 60 pounds since I got sober.
Right.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Got the diabetes, got the whole, just... So, I'm at another level right now where I'm changing it and stuff, and I've made some more changes with the food intake.
I had heard you recently changed some of your dietary stuff.
Yep, no animals, no dairy, no cheese, straight, hate the word, vegan.
Yeah.
Labeled.
So it's better to say eating clean.
I eat clean.
There you go. See, doesn't that sound better?
It does sound better. I eat clean. I'm a compassionate eater.
Yeah, there you go. So now, when it comes to the beer, you do drink your non-alcoholic beers, your NA beers.
I do.
That doesn't work for everybody.
No, it doesn't. There are a lot of people that disagree with that choice. Non-alcoholic beers for non-alcoholic men or women. Non-alcoholic people, I should say. We don't want to get caught up in a gender issue. I disagree. And that's cool. I'm whatever. People are going to think what they're going to think. I personally really, really enjoy the taste of beer.
Right. Plain and simple.
End of report. I love how beer tastes. Not all beer. Yeah. I love how some beer tastes. Alcohol doesn't sit well with me. If there's no alcohol in the beer,
and you can still get some of that taste,
I can get that taste. I can enjoy it. I've never had a problem with it. I'm not one of those guys who counts how many I had. Well, I've only had 3.
Right.
I don't really,
I think with an NA beer, I think to consider NA, it has to be under 0.5% ABV, and I think you would have to drink so many to feel that you'd throw up.
I'd puke first. I'd puke first. And you
Exactly.
hear all the stories like there's more alcohol in orange juice.
Oh, yeah,
and
you hear
there's,
all those things,
You know, like, well, if you smoke banana peels, you know, like, come on. You know?
You have other problems if you're smoking banana peels. But
You know what? I have other problems if an O'Doul's is a problem.
yeah.
I got other problems, right? Like, and it's funny because I've had some very dear friends of mine, like, question it, you know, and
Right.
and call me on it, right? And I'm like, but here's the deal, like, did you forget one key ingredient? What? Like, I don't give a fuck what you think,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
There you go. I don't have a problem. I'm not like hitting my wife. I don't get arrested. I don't
Wrecking your car.
I'm not wrecking my car. My PG&E's still on. You
Right.
know. I'm not ruining relationships. You know, it's consequence free.
Right.
So, I personally don't have a problem. A lot of people do. Cool. Don't drink it.
There you go. On the subject, would you like something to drink?
Sure.
All right.
Always. I'm thirsty.
Are you? What's your NA beer of choice?
You ready?
Yeah, man.
It's a toss-up. Old Milwaukee. O'Doul's.
All right.
Coors Cutter. I like a Coors Cutter.
So, for the purposes of this, because it is still a beer-based podcast, I had to get nerdy, do my research. Which ones are the highest rated?
Right.
NA
Yeah.
beers. So, I have 3 options here. We're gonna try. I have more of one, so we're gonna just kind of start with that one. I'll split it with you. I drank one before you got here, just to,
Right.
And honestly, this one is one of the better ones I've tasted. So this is the Erdinger.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is from Germany.
Yep. I had it in Germany.
Yeah, so what's interesting is some of the other beers, they're trying to call it like a Pilsner, they're trying to call it a Pale Ale. This one, because it's a Weiss beer, like a wheat beer,
Uh-huh.
they were able to, I think it's closer to the style of beer they're trying to replicate than any other NA beer I've ever had.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's more accurate to style, I'll say.
Well, when I went to Germany last year, I went on the road with a band, and it's okay to say like what band?
Say whatever you want.
Oh,
man.
good. I went with the Roadside Bombs,
Right.
and these beers are everywhere there.
In Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And pretty much all of Europe, everywhere that we went, it was not hard to find a variety of non-alcoholic beers. I think because I was told that the punishment for drunk driving over there is like crazy.
Real serious.
That's what I heard. Now I don't know, but for like I'm not 100% certain, but I'm told like it's really, really frowned upon.
Right.
And there's severe punishment.
At the same time, with their drinking culture is hundreds of years older than ours, so I imagine
Right.
that they're a little bit more on top of their.
Well, and I talked to our tour guy who drove the van and showed us all around. I was talking to him about it, and he's like, "Well, yeah, I'm driving.
Yeah. So
I don't drink, but I'll have one of those."
yeah. Do you feel like there was? You said they were all over the place. Do you feel like it's just more? There's not the social hang up that because in the United States there's a hang up about having like NA beers in your bars. I feel like
there
yeah.
is, and it's well, I think from the bar owner's perspective is when I come to the bar, I'm gonna have one,
Right.
maybe 2 if I'm there for a long time,
Right.
But you want to sell like
A few.
handfuls.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know, like we're not here to. They're here to sell booze.
Right.
You know, that's their deal. That's their business. But yeah, I think that it's like here it's not macho. It's not, oh, you don't drink, you're a pussy. You can't handle your booze. Right? I think the vibe I got in Europe was, oh, you're not drinking, you must be driving.
Cool.
Or you have a job that you're going to go to tomorrow. Or you don't like what happens to you when you have alcohol. Good for you.
Or it's none of my fucking business why you're not.
Right? There's no, like, I'm going to point and laugh. You know? There's no, oh, what's your problem?
Right.
Right? Yeah. It's very, very different. there. I think it's considered more responsible.
Absolutely. Now, what's interesting is, talking about availability here in the United States, that went back to our conversation when we were hanging out in at your house over the pool and you were drinking yours. Well, you just took your first sip. What do you think?
Oh, it's great.
You've had it before, yeah.
It's perfect.
So when we were at the...
Where did you get it? Because they don't have it anywhere in Santa Cruz.
I got it at a Bevmo. Yeah. Gotta go to Bevmo. So when we were at the barbecue, you actually said, hey, like, you knew what I was into. You're like, try one of my NA beers.
Right.
So I tried it, and it was about what I expected, which,
Plus.
it wasn't even so much that. It's like, I'm one of the least judgmental beer nerd people you'll meet. Like, I'm passionate about it, but I will just as quickly drink, like, a PBR tall can at a metal show as I will some Belgian. Look at this. You can see the bottle I have over there. It's like some
awesome.
Yeah, it's a huge Belgian.
It's art.
Yeah, exactly.
And because a lot of beer makers consider it an art.
Yeah.
Brewers, a lot of, especially with all these crafty small breweries, garage breweries, stuff like that. It's an art.
So you had me try yours, and it was, like I said, I'm down to go lowbrow anytime on my. But do you remember? And I know with your wife's watchful eye, I said, yeah, but you should smell my beer.
Right.
And I had that Lagunitas Daytime, and because I had said, the one thing that's missing from these beers is hop aromas.
Right.
And you smelled them, like, holy shit! Like, you had never really smelled a beer like with that much, and that's where we came up with the idea, because I had said you'd be a great like character on a label.
Yep.
For our craft hoppy NA beer. Now I can tell you, I looked into doing it, and I'm still working on trying to do a homebrew recipe.
I'm ready to go.
However, it is a pain in the ass to make NA beer on a small scale.
Right.
You're basically taking perfectly good beer and then cooking it and making it start tasting like canned vegetables when you cook it.
But see, okay, so here's the thing. This tastes like beer to me. It's been so long.
Right,
that if I tasted a regular beer, I'd probably be like, that's disgusting.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's been so long that this to me tastes like beer.
Right.
So there's that.
So what you're saying is we wouldn't have to put out a product that's based on my perception of
not at all
A+ quality. It's more about the consumer that's going to
exactly.
Yeah.
Right. If you're selling to the person that doesn't drink, well, you don't want to give them something that tastes like booze.
Right.
I mean,
you want to, yeah. If
I mean?
There's still going to be some of that. You want that malt beer flavor, or whatever, but it doesn't have to live up to that criteria per se. Now, do you remember what you came up with the name for the beer?
I did.
Yeah. Do you remember what you called it?
Yeah, 13 step.
Now, do you want to explain what that means? And
well, if you're in the recovery
community,
there's 12 steps.
The 13th step would be you drink this NA beer one.
Would be the one after the unspoken one.
Right.
It's kind of a there's another
interpretation or trans or like.
Well, I'm towing the line here. I'm trying to explain. Pretty much, some people consider when you're 13th step and you're fucking.
Okay, so
right
after
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So it was.
It's another term for going like home base, like
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah, home run.
So now, because you hadn't had any beers with a lot of hop character, I did tell you before you came over I was going to take this here French press.
Right.
And I have hops that I bought at the homebrew store.
Okay.
And we're going to infuse one of these NA beers with hops and see if you can pick up some aromas.
Oh, rad.
So that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
I promise you don't get any alcohol.
Oh, yeah. You have to ferment it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
So it does look like drugs, though, when I pull out these little baggies of green pellets. And
awesome.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Let's see here. So
I've never seen hops.
So
I've seen them growing from the highway.
yeah, so you can see on the packaging that's what the whole cone looks like. One of the farmers on the back here.
Well, and I've seen them on T-shirts because I
exactly.
do
you design.
yes.
Yeah, exactly. So this is usually when you get your hops. What most breweries are using for the actual process are pelletized hops. So they take the hop, dry. It's already been dried. It's then crushed. Pushed into these little, looks like rabbit food, basically.
Right.
So this is Simcoe hops, one of the classic hops. You could probably smell it from here, but take a whiff of that one.
Oh, that smells like weed.
Yeah.
Wow. I love the smell of marijuana.
So it is the same plant family.
Oh.
Like I said, you'll have to listen.
That's good.
You'll have to listen to that 420 episode I did with Luigi. So
That smells really good.
We'll put in some of that. Let's see here. Now there's like hundreds of hop varieties.
Sure.
So that's Simcoe. This one is Amarillo, which is supposed to have more tropical notes, like your different strains of bud.
Right. And so are you mixing the two?
Yeah. Want to just
And
go?
it's cool. We're going
yeah.
big. We're going big. We're doing
on
the
a lot of beer. On a lot of beers, there's like 4 different.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, this one's gonna smell a little more like citrus and mango, and yeah.
Oh yeah.
You already getting it?
Yep. And so we're gonna pour these in the little cheesecloth.
I got this cheesecloth little
Yep.
baggie, and I'll put it in the bottom of the French press. Pour some beer over it. Make a very concentrated hoppy.
Don't pour this one over it.
No. A very concentrated hoppy version, and then I'll pour it into a glass, and then top it off with some just open fresh beer because it loses all the carbonation when you do this French press technique.
Right.
And then
I'll still get the flavor.
Yes. Well, it's more about just getting the aromas. The flavor. A lot of the flavor you have to get from heating, like during.
Okay.
But you're gonna get a lot of aroma.
Okay.
And then this is Mosaic. This one's a little more. This has got a lot
Earthy?
more of that. Bud.
Oh, whoa. Oh, easy, Cheech. What are you doing? So I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, that one's got a lot more of that character.
Here, let me just hold on to this for a little bit. I hate what weed does to me.
Well,
but I really like the smell of it. When people are smoking
you can start buying hops. You know what's interesting is there's these old tales because I mean, beer. Hops have been around for around 700 years.
Right.
In beer, and there's stories of old brewers taking hops and chamomile and other herbs and putting them in a bag like this and putting it underneath their pillow, and it's supposed to give them very vivid dreams.
Really?
Yep. So, all right, and then this is Cascade. I'm gonna save this one maybe for one more, or actually, you know what? I'll save this for if we do one more infusion.
We can just smell it though.
Yeah, exactly. I can open it. We can smell it. So, all right, closing the hop sack here.
What do you got there? What is it? It's
Another
the same kind?
Another
Okay.
Erdinger. But we're gonna open up while this because it's gonna take about 15 minutes.
Sure. It's like making coffee. It's got to do its thing.
This one foamed up more than the right. I did a test earlier this week with
Right.
21st Amendment's beer. Have you had Klausthaler?
I have.
Okay, so I have 2 versions. Have you had? Yeah, they have 2. They have the regular and the amber.
One tastes like shit. Let's see the amber.
So you're not a fan of the regular?
No. I like. I don't like it. Even when I was drinking, like,
Right.
I didn't like the. I hate the word skunky because it's so unimaginative. You know?
But that's honestly, if you like, I do beer judging, like competitions and stuff. That's on like proper descriptions of beer is the word skunky.
Okay. Yeah, I liked. Man, I liked the Pabst Blue Ribbons. I liked the Budweiser. I liked the original Coors. I like the quantity.
Okay.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest. You can't drink 30 of those, right?
Fair enough.
I could take down 30 Budweisers.
Yeah, and now goes back to, like you said, you like your your Old Milwaukee and your O'Doul's, and those are really light.
Yeah.
So now I'm curious because you really didn't like this Klausthaler.
I'll drink you.
I was gonna say, I'll get you a little. I'm not gonna pour a lot then because I want to try it. But
yeah, I'll drink.
Now I'm gonna be honest.
But check this out. I would drink Lucky Brand vodka. Okay.
Yeah.
So like. Come on.
Again, you were like me. You're willing to go lowbrow.
Yeah.
Now
dude.
the thing I will confess though is that the Erdinger I bought. First of all, it's in dark glass, and it was in like a cardboard container, like
So you had
covering it.
no idea.
Well, no, there was no light getting into it. So you want to know what causes some of that skunkiness? Is light getting through a bottle. Green and clear bottles do not protect the beer from light. Light affects hops that are in the beer, and it creates the same aroma compound that skunks create. That's literally why it's skunky. So this one, I will say, was
That's
sitting.
why Miller Genuine Draft
Yes.
tastes like pus.
Yeah.
Got it. Budweiser, brown bottle, good.
Yes. Now, but the other thing is, I bought this at a store that shall remain nameless, but it was sitting on a shelf.
Warm.
And yeah, well, I mean, the Erdingers at Bevmo were sitting. The room was cooler there at Bevmo. This spot, a little warmer room, and I'm guessing these are pretty old. I'm just gonna say, I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Yeah.
So if you want,
And I think and I don't know. I might stand corrected.
now this smells more like to me like a Heineken or a Carlsberg, like one of those like.
Yeah.
You smell
exactly.
that?
Yes.
Yeah, but this is the smell you don't like.
Yeah, no. I didn't like Heineken and Carlsberg and all that European crap.
It smells like a European, like more like a European lager to me. That Erdinger
Like
doesn't
Urkel,
have.
Pilsner Urkel.
Yeah, you
right?
know.
What is that?
Yeah,
What it is?
Pilsner Urquell. That's the oldest
Urquell.
That's the oldest Pilsner.
Oh, is it? Mm-hmm. I only drank those because they were cheap at the liquor store in Sonoma.
What's funny is I can actually tell what yeast strain they used on this because it's just such a familiar. What's funny is this is the one that it says winner of the World Beer Awards Gold, and when I looked up like best tasting NA beers, Erdinger was second place, and the Klostauer Amber, which you can see it says dry hopped with Cascade, which maybe we'll take this one and we'll put more Cascade in it.
Oh.
I have 2 of these bottles, so we can.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Okay, so my uncle always has these. I think because they're sold at Costco.
Probably.
I think Klostauer is the one you get at Costco.
Right.
He always has these. So when I
So
go to
that's what you
barbecues at his
drink,
house, I'll have one. I am by no means an NA beer snob where I won't drink it, right?
But there's. Yeah.
I'll go out of my way if I know that the store I'm going to has the Old Milkies.
Right.
Because
That's your baby.
you know what? They come in a can.
Mm-hmm.
They're in a can, and they're like...
That's more your poolside beer, man.
Oh, yeah. I'll float in the pool with the Old Milky all day.
There you go. Now, we're going to start designing labels for our Step 13. We got to start...
Love it.
I'll actually show you before you leave what I was going to do. So when you're doing these beers, they tell you to make a beer and then cook the alcohol. So at 170 degrees, it's not evaporating too much liquid, and it's as low as it's basically that's the temperature Fahrenheit at which alcohol is gonna cook out. It's gonna evaporate out. So they'll tell you do like 30 minutes at 170 after you've already finished the beer. Like it's a finished product. And
Okay, so let me wrap my head around this. Is it cost prohibitive, or is it just like, oh my god, you're ruining a perfect beer?
So on a homebrew scale, if you have kegging equipment, you can carbonate your beer after you've at any time. You can just take the still liquid, put it in a container that's holding pressure, and you can pump CO2 in it and it'll carbonate. You can serve it. Now most homebrewers though are doing just they're bottling their beer, which still has yeast, which means there's still fermentation happening, and they're putting a little bit of sugar in the bottom. It's a measured amount of sugar per bottle to then let the yeast that's still alive carbonate in the bottle. So for a homebrewer, already, unless you have kegging equipment, and you want to keep it at under 0.5%, then it's pretty much impossible.
Got it.
Now, I do have a little keg. That's what I was going to show you. Is I have a 2.5 gallon, 3 gallon keg, and so I can do it. And that's small enough. And it's small enough that it fits in my oven. It's stainless steel. So I'm thinking about literally moving, like once it's done in the fermenter in the glass carboy, moving it into that, cooking it in the oven, then letting it cool. And actually the trick is, okay, so the whole thing is we want to make something that has hops in it. Sure. When you add hops into a beer, they add it at the very end of the boiling process, and then they add it post fermentation, what they call dry hopping, is when you get all that aroma. The thing is, if you add hops, a heavily hopped beer, and then try and cook it, it's just going to get really grassy. It's just the hop content. It's going to get gross. So what I would do is make a beer that has pretty much like no hop aromas.
Throw it in.
And during that part where you have to heat it to get the alcohol out, I'm going to throw the hops in. Then probably in that same little sack and throw it in there. And while it's cooling off, then take it out, seal it, carbonate it. That's what I'm going to attempt. And I do have a buddy who's a head brewer at a pretty large brewery, and he said I could bring a sample in, and he has like $5,000 piece of equipment that it just dips this little plastic tube in, and it gets all the data on a digital screen to tell you what the ABV is like in 30 seconds. So I just got to do it now that I have those things lined up, my ducks in a row to try it.
And Resentment Ale is born.
Yeah, this beer's...
Yeah. Like I said, I'm at a barbecue having a tofu dog. I'll knock one down.
Yeah, there you go, man. So, all right, you are curious about the amber.
I am. I didn't even know it existed, honestly.
So this is the Klausthaler Amber, and it says right on the label, dry hopped with Cascade hops. And we haven't even opened the Cascade for you to smell yet.
Right.
We can actually... You can smell this and taste this, and then I'll give you what fresh Cascade smells like and see if it's...
I'm excited about that one.
First of all, this doesn't look that amber. I guess it's got a little more color. All right. I will say that last one tastes better than I was expecting based on the condition I found it in.
Oh, okay.
So I'll give it.
And so when you're spinning it, what does that do?
I'm just getting the aromas out. It's just like wine, man. You know,
right?
You just give it a little swirl, drinking it out of wine glasses. We're going highbrow here, man. We're getting fancy.
I know.
It's just making everything come to the surface. So that one does smell more like that roasted malt, like sweet.
Yeah.
Like I said, I told you when you first got here, I was like, there's no podcast where people are really analyzing their NA beers because it's not hip to be drinking NA beers.
It's not cool at all. It's lame.
Well, we're lame. It's okay.
I know. It's cool. I'm down. I'm good with being lame. See, this one tastes like the other one.
It's the same yeast and the same water. They just changed the grain and added some hops.
Yeah, it's it's not bad, once again.
But this doesn't smell anything like those hops I was having you smell like earlier. Now, and I'm going to open up this fresh Cascade for you to smell because this is supposedly what it's hopped with. So you can just get... Actually, you know what?
Could it be that they just put a little bit of the Cascade hops
they probably
in there,
just
but they put a shitload of some crap?
Well, yeah. Who knows?
Right?
Yeah. Not as pungent as the other hops.
It doesn't smell as Mendocino as the others at all. Smells good.
Yeah. But compared to those other ones I had you.
Right.
Yeah, Amarillo and Simcoe and all those are... but just so you know, I wouldn't taste the hop.
Oh, I was just going to do that.
Don't. I see you digging in there like it's Cheetos.
I was going to eat it.
I see you. That's a bad idea. It would fuck your palate up. It fuck your taste buds up for a week.
Oh, really?
I mean, it's bad. It would taste really... It would ruin your night.
Really?
Yeah.
I kind of want to take one home and just...
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
That's so funny that you called it. Because
I see you fiddling around with it. I'm like, no. It's like when it's because I just barely opened this bag, and I see it's that thing when you open up your bag of chips and it's not quite open. And I see him doing it. I see him ripping the bag. I'm like, nope, don't you dare. Let me check on the other one here.
On our French press experience.
Yeah, I'm gonna smell and see if it's. Well, the thing is, I asked my wife, my wonderful wife Tamara. Is she back there? All right. So I asked her to, no, we're good.
Just giving you props.
Yeah, I'm saying how much I love you for washing the French press.
Oh, you're welcome.
Still smells.
Half as much as I love you.
Still smells like coffee. That's.
Do they have a coffee beer?
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of coffee beers. I've homebrewed coffee beer before.
Are they any good?
Mm-hmm. They're really easy to make. You just cold brew, like cold steep coffee, and then add
I
it.
had to stop cold brewing.
Why? You're just doing overboard, or what?
I was. It was bad. I had to pull the car over one day.
Oh, it just getting into. Oh yeah, you know that has more caffeine than like any other preparation of coffee.
Yeah, and
because the heat, it's heating is what like breaks up the caffeine molecule. Yeah, and like.
And it was bad, like heart tremors, anxiety. I was freaking out.
All right, so it does have some flavor. I think I'm gonna add the Cascade in there too. Let me see your glass here. Like I said, see there's like zero carbonation now.
Yep.
So I'm going to top it off with just a little bit just to
Just to give it a little bubble.
Yeah, exactly.
See, okay, so like this one here, the
Right, the first one, the
Erdinger.
Yeah.
Like this is okay. We're having a nice dinner.
Oh, so it's fancy.
Yeah, this is. We're having a nice dinner. We're out to a nice dinner. Oh shit, they got the Erdinger.
Yeah, so
Right? That's the good time.
Except for you also didn't think you could find it, and I just told you where to find it.
You know
All right.
what? I might stock up.
Give this one a swirl, and let me see if you smell different now. I smell, yeah.
Oh yeah.
See, what's funny, and Tamara was saying this earlier. I said when I was doing the test, I was like, I'm not really picking it up. She's like, he'll pick it up. He's a lot more sensitive, I guarantee, to hops than I am.
Much more.
Yeah. See, for me, that's not enough. Like, I drink insanely hoppy beers all the time, so I'm like, yeah, this isn't
Right? No, this is this is full speed.
Yeah. There you go. Well, I'm glad I could do this for you.
Yeah.
So you'd like to see an NA beer with some of that character in there?
Absolutely.
There you go.
Absolutely. I think if you could do two
different beers.
Two different ones.
What if we did a coffee stout that was NA? There you go.
I'd give it hell. Yeah. I'll try anything, really.
Right.
This is awesome. And there was another one. You know what? I can't remember what it was called. I got to ask my buddy. I want to say there was a Z in it or something. We got it in Holland. And it was holy shit good.
In Holland. But you don't remember the brand?
No, I don't. I'll try and figure it out.
All right, so I'm dumping the Cascade hops into with the rest of the hops in the sack, and I'm going to throw in the rest of this amber Klosthaler, and then I have another one of those, so we'll top it off when this is done. Give it 15 more minutes, 20 more minutes, just to get a little more character.
Yeah, this is either going to increase your listener base
or just kill it.
You
know, honestly, I was telling people about this episode, and a lot of people were really stoked just because no one's doing it.
Oh, cool. We'll do it that.
And besides this, it's funny that you think I have a listener base. That was really cute. I appreciate it. You know, you're talking about coming up in the, being involved in the punk scene for as long as you have, and having these friends that you were able to see when you came back around that there are sober people in the community. But do you think that there's an inherent aspect in the lifestyle that is like in living in excess, abusing yourself, or that self like basically self-harm aspect of punk rock? Do you think there's some element of that?
Sure, yeah, because I mean, everything about punk rock is, you told me I can't.
Fuck you, yeah.
Yeah. How about this?
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you I can, and I'm going to, and watch.
Right.
It was funny too, because I'm reminded when I came home with my first mohawk, 16 years old. We had just moved to Sonoma from San Francisco, and my buddy Ben gave me a mohawk, and we came home, and I thought it was the best fucking thing, best day ever, and my parents flipped the fuck out. Right? I think my stepdad said his exact words were, Ben, you got to go home.
Yeah, like, I'm about to beat this dude's ass,
right?
And like, you can't be here.
You got to go.
Yeah.
Right? I don't care where, you just got to go. Right? And so the first thing that came out of their mouths were, you don't know, we work in San Francisco, we see the punk rockers all the time, and there's just drugs and alcohol, and that was their main concern. It wasn't anything about you look like a fucking moron. It wasn't anything about appearance. They were concerned about the drugs and alcohol. So, I mean, this was 1980.
And if you're naturally rebelling against your parents who are warning you about drugs and alcohol, what's the best way to...
Well, as soon as they got done, I went into their room, stole their weed, and went over to Ben's house. That's what went down. So is it prevalent in the punk rock world? Yes, and I would even say more so than other
genres
of music or
lifestyles,
lifestyles, yeah, or scenes, I definitely know that when I was growing up, there was more. I mean, everybody I knew, all the punk rock kids I knew were, drinking, doing drugs, getting high, whatever. And the squares were like maybe once in a while going to a cake party, and
right.
like pretending they were drunk. I mean, we were going for it. So, yeah, I think it's kind of back then, where at least where I grew up, where I got into it, it was hand in hand. Everybody did it, There wasn't straight edge. There wasn't, posy anything.
Right.
So,
do you think that it also had a little bit to do with when I went and got you in the lobby as you were coming, we were talking about current technology and how you got here with using GPS and everything. We were talking about smartphones, dumb people. Do you think that that kids today that maybe love punk rock and they want to have some rebellion, that they have access to like-minded people? Like, instead of being in your direct social group, you can...
Absolutely.
You can go look up a Gorilla Biscuits record.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it was... So, yes. And do I think they're fortunate? Absolutely. Maybe it's a quicker path to where they need to be. When I was a kid, when we were younger, it was definitely regional. Like you had San Francisco Bay Area sound, right? Orange County had its sound and look. Dude walks in from Orange County, you're like,
I know that guy.
Yeah, he's got the cut, the patches, the creepers, the spiky blonde, like Orange County, right? And then dude from the Northwest rolls in, and each area has their sound and their vibe and their look, right? Now you get on your phone.
Or you can go to a show right now. Go to Gilman this weekend, and you're going to see somebody who looks like from
every different
kind
area,
of like style, whatever.
Which is kind of cool,
Yeah.
But I mean, we mailed tapes through the mail. You ordered it through the mail. I would take an envelope and I would stick $3 and a self-addressed stamped envelope, well concealed cash, and mail it to whatever label you wanted the new record. Without hearing it, you saw an ad in a Maximum Rock and Roll or Flipside or something. You saw an ad. Send $3, we'll send you the record. And so, in good faith, I would put $3 in the envelope, send it out, and 6 weeks later, my record would show up.
If you were lucky.
Yeah. I didn't get to click a button and it's there tomorrow because Amazon dropped it on a fucking drone.
Yeah.
Like, you definitely had to work for it before. And that's just me being old and.
But do you feel like that also is part of the reason why you felt so tight with like the people in your direct scene?
Yes.
It's like because you guys all worked hard.
Yes.
To
Well, and that's all you had.
Yeah.
You don't get to get on social media and meet the punk rocker from Thailand.
Right.
Right. You don't get to go. Oh yeah, he's from Orange County. I've never met him, but we're friends.
Yeah.
Right. No, that's all you had. And and especially then, like there was one or two skinheads. There were a couple of, supercharged GBH punk rockers, spiky punks. Then there was a handful of skateboarder punk rocker. You know what I mean? There was,
right.
You hung out with all of them. It was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. But definitely worked harder to access it.
Yeah. But silver lining being, if you don't relate to the people that are in your direct sphere of influence, you can find something for you, at least these days.
Yes, definitely. You don't have to settle like you did before. Like I would settle for hanging out with the stoner metal dudes.
Yeah, I think I may have been like the last gen. I'm 31, and I think I was the last generation of like, you really. It was. It also has to do with being from like Fresno,
right.
Where you
Bulldogs.
I mean, if you're a punk dude or a chick, you're hanging out with the stoners and the freaks and the goths and the whatever.
Yep.
It's just it's strength in numbers. Strength in numbers.
You're
And,
not with the jocks and the hicks.
well, I've been this size since I was about 12, so I got pretty lucky in that sense.
yeah. I was skin and bones.
Yeah.
Until I really started drinking. Right? Yeah. So exactly, you hang out with the freaks and the weirdos, and you don't hang out with the jocks and the hicks and the popular kids.
Yeah.
You know. And they would. I mean, I remember my buddy Pete. He died a little while ago, but we were in high school in Spanish class doing cocaine on the desk.
Jeez.
Right? Yeah, going for it. And the jock girls in front of us are like, that's not real.
Okay, you want some?
I'm like, oh yes it is. Right? Like, but we did it because fuck you.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you're not going to tell us not to. It was a whole different world. Whole different world. Now I see the football jocks covered in tattoos, with a Black Flag t-shirt on.
Yeah.
It's that part gets me a little bit.
Yeah, but Black Flag always had a little bit of a jock element. Come on.
Yeah.
Especially when Rollins got in there.
Yeah. I mean, that was my quickest
I know.
analogy.
I know.
It's there is a big part of me that's like, damn it, man, we worked so hard for this, and now it's just
pop culture. You go down to the mall and buy that shirt.
Yeah.
Except for
like, I got beat up for wearing Vans. I wore checkered shoes, and the dude says, "Nice clown shoes, faggot." And I'm like, fuck you, and I took a beating.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, it's everywhere. So, whatever. The kid's got it easy. My kid has it easy.
Yeah.
He's got an amazing collection.
I bet he does. He's probably got your collection a little bit.
Oh, yeah. His mom works in skateboarding. I work in punk rock. He's got everything.
It's pretty set. And you have a great house out
Yeah.
out in the Santa Cruz Mountains.
Yep.
So
Yeah, we're
beautiful out there, man.
Yeah, I love it.
So when it comes to, those people who are struggling with sobriety, I mean, there's, what are the options? I can tell you, and I made sure to clear this with him before we did this. My dad is in recovery. Mm-hmm. He went cold turkey.
That's rough.
Yeah, no program, no. He had some friends. He had done. I think he had some reading, some sort. But really, and then a few years later, he's quit smoking, and it's Now, I can tell you that with the drinking, I was a little bit too young to really remember or to be able to pick up on maybe the reasons, like what was going on at the time, to understand why, like what drove him to stop. But I know with the smoking, it was his health. I mean, he was getting older, and he actually had an aneurysm.
Oh, yeah.
And then he's like, I don't want to die,
right?
And that's when and he did cold turkey on the cigarettes too.
Oh, it's so hard. I quit smoking as well. Let's see, 6 years ago, October. That was harder than the booze.
Really?
Yep.
That's what I've heard. I've heard
so unbelievably challenging. So options. What are people's options if they want to get sober? And let's not even look at if they need to get sober. That's an internal deal. Like, I could say you need to get sober, but unless you're in pain and suffering, you're not
ready to. That's the big one.
It is a decision. A lot of people don't agree with me, but it's a decision that you have to take and make. What are your options? Go to treatment. Go to treatment. Get into recovery. Go to a 12-step program. Find other sober people, and make that decision. And generally we need to get beaten down pretty tough.
Did you have like a rock bottom moment that
I did?
Anything you're willing to talk about?
Always willing. Always willing. It had gotten out of control for me, like pretty much always drunk. And when I started drinking, I couldn't stop, and when I started drinking, I couldn't predict what was going to happen. Did a lot of blackout driving and a lot of cruddy stuff. And I was at my bar, at my favorite bar, and I shit my pants. Standing out in front, having a cigarette. Yep. And I went home, took a shower, got cleaned up, and I was sitting on the couch, and I was like, this is fucked. This is the worst. Like, I pretty much suck.
There's
now.
no excuse. There's no rationalizing.
Like, and I didn't just shit my pants. Let's right? Like, it was it was like my body just said everything out.
Fuck you.
We're done. We're done. Open up, because it's coming out, right? And I wear shorts. I don't wear pants.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm standing out in front and just like, it was a mess. So, get home, shower, crying game shower, right? Get dressed, sitting on the couch, and I'm sitting there totally miserable, and I look at the clock and I think, I can make last call.
Holy shit.
And I went back. I went back for more. And I drank the rest of the night. And when I woke up the next day, just pitted. I would get like really bad hangovers. Okay? Like monster hangovers. And I woke up and I was like, I really can't stop. This sucks. And I called a friend who I knew was sober. And so he's helped me out. Started pointing me in the right direction, and I started doing the things that you need to do to change your life. And the rest was just, it was not easy. It was not easy, but it just getting progressively better. I'm clearly an alcoholic.
Do you feel like those rock bottom moments are like really? I mean, more often than not, is that what you're hearing from people? And when if somebody discloses that information, like as far as from other people struggling, is that a common thread? Is like hitting rock bottom before? I mean, I see very few people who are just kind of easily walking out of it, like
right. It's there's varying degrees, varying levels, A lot of comparisons are made, like how far did you go?
Right.
That's nobody's business, really. If you're hurting and alcohol's the problem, there's a solution. I can not drink. It's easy for me to not drink. Dealing with the people in the world is my issue today. Nobody's doing what I want them to do.
Right.
And
your coping mechanism for when things weren't going your way was to have a drink.
Absolutely.
And now that's not the option.
It's not the option, So I've got other coping mechanisms in place where I address my disdain for the world. Usually I'm in pretty good spot. Traffic gets me.
Yeah, man. That's I've been trying to get into like mindfulness practices and like
me too.
Yeah, and I can tell you, man, like man, traffic is the one that's like I have a problem. I'll tell you. Do you want to know my I'll admit right now my problem is like road rage. Like I have a serious problem.
Yeah. Let me tell you. You know what? I'm with you. Okay. Let me tell you a little story here. My kids go to Catholic school. Private school in Santa Cruz. And for I don't know if you're Catholic or not, but for
raised Catholic, I'm familiar.
Okay, so you're familiar with Lent, and you give up something for Lent,
mm-hmm.
right? Okay. So we're sitting around the dinner table. It's time for the kids. They do it every year. Lent comes every year,
Yeah.
right? And so they're going through their thing about what they're going to give up, right? And so, I'm going to give up TV. And I'm like, ooh.
It's a tough one.
That's a rough one, buddy. You can give up TV. I'd reconsider that one. And I'm going to give up... My daughter said she was going to give up, like, eggplant or something.
Something
like,
she eats once a month.
yeah, like, we never even have it, but okay, whatever. And, they're like, what are you going to give up, Dad? And I was like, I'm not going to give up anything. I'm not Catholic. That's not fair. I was like, okay. In solidarity, I will give up something. Let's see. Right? And my son says, no yelling at bombs. Right? And I'm like, okay, I can give up. I can stop yelling at the bums. I can try that. And then my daughter says, and no yelling at and cussing at people in traffic. And I'm like, well, I never do that.
And you got a
Oh, they just erupted.
Yeah.
They're just like, you're kidding me. You called him an effing blah, 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 blah today. Like, yeah, I have a problem in traffic.
and when your kids can call you out on
yeah,
it's
I mean,
a problem.
we're talking about 7-year-old calling me out for, telling somebody to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I flipped off a guy in a white BMW today, and I wanted to follow him.
yeah,
Yeah.
and chase him home and teach him what for.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you didn't do it my way. And you didn't even know that you're not doing it my way, but I'm going to let you know that you're not doing it my way.
Yeah, man. I got some books for you to check out when
Oh, yeah.
just for the peace of mind stuff.
Oh yeah, it's I'm working on it. That's my thing today. Like
Yeah.
I'm working on my mindfulness, like you said.
Yeah.
Like, okay, why am I angry at that
Yeah.
person?
You want to check out, see how this beer
Absolutely.
doing? So we put the this one's got a little more of a green hue to it now. It looks like some
It
of those
does. It
hops
looks like
are,
wheatgrass or something.
yeah, it looks like those hops probably came out a little more.
So when you judge a beer thing, how much beer do you end up drinking?
About 3 to 4 ounces, 3 ounces. Because after about a dozen beers, you're done for the day. I mean,
You're
can't.
hammered.
Well, no, man, I could put them back.
Yeah,
but
that's
it's
true.
like,
Right.
Our mutual friend
Yes.
Ben Murray has told me that of anybody he trusts, it's like, oh yeah, like Tim knows how to handle it.
Right. Well,
Yeah, it's the lifestyle, man. I'm not proud of it. It's like it is what it is.
it's all good.
But yeah, there's a lot more hops. in
There's
this
no.
one.
Oh yeah. Whoa. That smells like weed.
Tastes a lot more green too. It's a little too grassy now. The hops have been sitting in a little. Once they sit over a certain part, they get a little grassy.
Yeah. See, I wouldn't.
See, too grassy on that one. But the hops have been sitting there too long like that.
Grassy's the word.
Yeah, it's
actually.
grassy, man. Yeah, but the nose isn't bad.
Smells great.
Yeah, that first infusion I know you liked. You got to remember to pick up your Erdinger at your French press.
Bevmo. 41st.
So, what are your projects you're working on right now, man? I mean, you're doing, was it Sicker Than Others, I believe?
Yep.
All right, what's that about?
Me and a friend, Danny Boy, over in San Francisco. He's an artist. He's a tattoo artist. And we both can appreciate some of the funnier things. At least I think they're funnier things. He thinks we have a similar sense of humor.
Well, like your Taco Hunter pin.
Oh,
That's a pretty good one.
that is a good one. I love that. And he came up with, the first one I did was a set of praying hands with a T-bone steak coming out of it.
Said pray for meat.
Pray for meat,
I like it.
right? I didn't know. I should have brought some with you. I'll get them to you.
Yeah, please.
I did the pray for meat one, and then Danny and I were talking about it, and I had recently discovered through Ben Murray and some other homies that I work with about this whole like patch game and pin game thing
Yeah, man.
on
People
Instagram.
are all about patches and pins right now.
Oh, it's ridiculous, and they're hilarious. And I'm like, I make these. I should start making my own.
Yeah.
Right? Because I make them for whoever. And so, I'm a jackass, so I'm doing an I Heart Gluten one. right now. So I made the Pray for Meat, and then Danny sent me over a design. He's like, we should do one of these. And it was a pentagram made out of a bicycle chain with blood dripping, Satan's chain. And that one's hilarious. So we put that one out. That one, everybody liked that one too. And then, we just started talking. We've got a whole line of, ideas.
Potential, yeah.
Yeah, and what we want to do is we want to, on all the little projects that I work on, I've got a deal for myself. Is I throw a little bit of money at it, right? Not a lot. I don't have a lot of money, so I throw a little bit of money at it, and if it can start feeding itself, then it's a worthy endeavor.
Right.
Then it's worth. If it's fun, and it doesn't, I don't have to go broke doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Then I love creating things, whether it's records or music or lapel pins or T-shirts or
skateboards.
What I did skateboards too for a while.
Yeah.
Until something else shiny comes along, probably. As long as it pays for itself.
Like an NA beer. Well, I'll get on it. I know.
Yeah, I'm currently working on a new magazine, new fanzine, with a couple of friends from Santa Cruz. It's called Basket Case. It's all choppers. It's all chopper motorcycles and skateboarding.
Rad.
Yeah. First issue's coming out right now. Actually, I'm behind the ball. I gotta have the layout done by Monday morning.
All right. Well, then I'll let you go. And now, Sicker Than Others. You're also over at Pirates Press.
I am.
Yeah.
I am. I work in the merch department. We do merchandise for bands and labels and whoever.
Anything else you want to plug? You brought up the name of the magazine coming out.
Basket Case.
Basket Case.
Yep.
Sicker Than Others.
Yep.
Pirates Press.
Pirates Press. I have a website called corpitus.com.
You want to spell that?
corpitus.com.
Okay.
And that's where some friends and I have a record label called Chapter 11 Records that we've been doing for 20 years, actually. And
what are some of the artists?
Currently, Roadside Bombs. We just released Cold Feelings 7-inch. The Deathless is a hardcore band from Santa Cruz that we released their record. We do all the Pink Panzer records.
All right.
We've done stuff for Tiger Army and Dropkick Murphys and the Working Stiffs. We did some work with them.
So yeah, make sure to check out Sicker Than Others, corpitus.com, Chapter 11 Records, Pirates Press.
Definitely.
All those coals in the fire you've got going right now. Ian, thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely.
Hope you had a good time.
Thank you for having me. This was amazing. Thank you, buddy.
All right, man. Have a good one.